We'll start with Brady. I think you had your hand up first. Go ahead.
Thanks, Paige. Hey, Tommy, how you doing?
Hey, Brady. I'm good, thanks. How are you, mate?
Yeah, all well. Just a quick one on Edmonton. I know obviously this is a team that is a provincial rival and one that, quite frankly, you've had their number lately. So is it safe to say that you're expecting a motivated group on the other side on Sunday?
Absolutely. I think any time any team from Calgary or faces any team from Edmonton, there's a Battle of Alberta, or as our fans call it, an El Classico. And I think that's on the line. So whilst their season form has been up and down, you never underestimate them, because in the both times we've played them, they've tested us in different problems. They're very well organized. They're very physical. They've got, they move the ball around quite well. And I think they're trying to evolve into something different. So we've got to take away their strengths and try and continue to expose their weaknesses.
Of course, and just a thought on last night's game between Pacific and Vancouver. I know you guys are the first team to CPL to make that upset, but I think you gave Paul and the group a shout out last night. Congratulations, just something of a win for the league in total, isn't it?
Absolutely. Listen, it's fantastic for Pacific as a football club. You've seen them grow. We know we're living that. We're still growing. We know the work that goes behind the scenes with ownership groups, with supporters groups, with everything that you need to do, with what's happened in COVID, with the lack of time between. So when they go out there and put on a performance like that against a very well-established side that's maybe had a little bit longer time together, that's phenomenal. And it's phenomenal for the league. I think Parma James Merriman and the Pacific owners have really attacked that game and the way they've marketed it. And we've come out smelling the roses. So I feel it's a collective win for our league, because it's a one-off if it's just us. Now it's not one-off. So it sends a message across CONCACAF and beyond that we've got a great league here.
Brilliant, and it gives us another matchup between the top two teams in the table, so no complaints from the neutral either, and best of luck on Sunday, Tommy.
Thank you. Yeah, it will come into beyond the playoff series now. It could be best of 7 series, or it could be a best of 8 at some time if we both end up making the playoffs.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Brady. Brandon, we'll go to you next.
Thanks, Paige. Hey, Tommy, how are you doing this afternoon?
Hey, good, Brandon. How are you, mate?
I'm doing well. I suppose since Brady took the obvious question, I'll give you one on the actual matchup. You guys see Edmonton at home on Sunday, and then you go to their on Wednesday. What does the team make of that?
Well, do you know what? I think, Brendan, it creates, here's the reality we're in, where, we started in the bubble and double headers against these teams and come home, and then we have, these series games against our own West Coast. I think by having a home and away tie, it just kind of livens it a bit, because you got to focus on the game ahead here, which we do. We've got a terrific home record, and we want to continue that. And then Clark Stadium is a difficult place to go. And for either club, there's a response to be had in the midweek. So whilst it's fresh in everybody's minds, we can't dwell too much on one game over the other, but just focus on one at a time. We're looking forward to it, because I tell you, for us, it's 6 points to be had. And for them, it's an opportunity to close the gap. So these are meaningful points. And
just a question for the injury report. Any changes or any updates that are maybe timeline sliding forward, or still more of the same?
Yeah, still about the same. The only one that's obviously left us is Daniel Kaiser's return to UBC as part of the U Sports agreement. He's got some studying to do. It was something we understood, and he'll be returning there. It's great to have now players returning. Anthony Novak missed the last game, but he's now available for selection. So we've got a fortuitous situation where I actually get to now leave players in the stands by choice and not by default.
I'll knock on wood for that injury report to stay clean for you guys, and thanks, Tommy.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon. Andrew, we'll go to you next.
Thanks, Paige. Hi, Tommy. This is Jack from CPL Fever. Great to be back in the press room with you. I hope you're doing well. So I want to ask you about Joe Mason. So he's your leading goal scorer right now. with 3 goals in the league and 4 goals in all competitions. So I want to ask you, how important is he to this squad and going into this game, especially since Joe Mason has also scored against Edmonton in the Canadian Championship?
Great. Listen, first off, hello, Jack. Nice to hear your voice again. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. It's nice. I'm glad to be back in the press room with you. I had a couple of games were a bit late, just like since we're in Nova Scotia, the time difference. But yeah, I'm glad to be back in the press room with you.
Top man. I'll have a word with your dad to keep you up on school nights next time we have a midweek game. Listen, on Joe Mason, he's a terrific signing. I think when you look at what he can bring to our team, we went through the first part of the season where we were getting our players up to speed, up to fitness, and we talked about, it'll come. The attacking part of it always comes later. Joe joined us a little later in the bubble, and we knew what type of player we were getting, and we were very particular in how we introduced him into games and didn't rush him. And I think that's been an approach we've taken. We've not put all our cards on the table yet. We've made sure we've taken a very thoughtful approach in how we rotate the sides, and we've said all along, it's not how you start the race, it's how you finish it. And we've led from the front in many, many ways. And now Joe Mason is leading from the front. His movement is exceptional. His finishing is exquisite. And I tell you, beyond that, we've just finished a great training session. And he just makes other players around him better because of whether it's his movement or the way he trains. And when the players see that a player like him has played in the caliber of games and for the teams he's played for, still putting in the work, still doing these things, our players can learn off of. And he's terrific around the locker room. And I tell you, he's going to be a handful for any backline he faces.
Yeah, it's great to have a player who's great in the locker room, but also someone who can help the team as a whole. And yes, his movement off the ball and his movement has been great. Exciting player to watch.
Yeah, it is, and he's and I hope, and this is the purpose of this league, is to inspire the next generation, yourself included. Because of the way he moves, the technique under pressure, how he presses the defenders. It was funny because the first text message I got was from my dad after the Pacific game that we'd won, and he said, "Is Joe Mason still running?" And it just shows that he's not here to kind of wind down his career. He's here to keep doing what he's done for all these years and put in the shift and create havoc for back lines. And whether that's with or without the ball, he's certainly doing that. So we're fortunate to have signed him, and I think he's forming a very good partnership with Sergio Camargo, which is exactly what we need it to be.
Yeah, he definitely has done that. He's a great player. And yeah, it looks like he's becoming a real standout player in this league.
Yeah, he will be.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you, Jack. We do have a few more minutes here, so I'll open it up to another round of questionings. Brandon, you can go right ahead.
Thanks, Paige. I'll just double dip here. And you mentioned Daniel Kaiser right at the end there. I know he's going back to UBC, coincidentally playing with Pacific's Chris Lee, who's also gone back in the last week or so. But I did just want to maybe dip on a metaphor, on a simile that you might appreciate here. From actually, it's actually from Ralph Hasenhüttl, the manager at Southampton, who recently said that the upside on having some of the younger guys around is they have this hard drive where their hard drive might be emptier than some of the senior players who've picked up traits here and there along their travels. Maybe just a couple of words on the impact that Daniel had with the squad while he was there.
It's great because we had 2 U Sports picks this year. Obviously, Vic Lattori we'd had with us, but we took him from Mount Royal University and Daniel Kaiser from the University of British Columbia. Both lads I was fortunate to know through the Foothills system prior, so we knew the type of stock we were getting with them. What impressed me with both of them was their energy and enthusiasm. I'd advise any young players out there, have that. That is a non-negotiable if you're to get into this league. And you're seeing the ones that are doing well. If you have energy and enthusiasm and have a good baseline level of fitness and technique, the rest can be taught by us coaches. That's what we're paid to do. So Daniel Kaiser came in and he's played at right back, at left back. He played some big minutes. He started in our first game away at the bubble, and he started in our first home game. after 640 days away from Spruce Meadows. And to be able to come in and do that and do it seamlessly has been great. So, like I said, we're very, very fortunate to have players like that on the pipeline. We hopefully this is the start of a really good professional career for him and Victor.
Thanks, Tommy, and good luck tomorrow, or not.
Appreciate it.
On Sunday, actually, I guess, against Edmonton. Still losing track of day 2.
I've no idea what day. It's always plus or minus a day in terms of where the games are. That's how I run my calendar.
Thanks, Tommy, and thanks, Paige, as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, Brandon. Jack, we'll go to you for our last question.
This is Andrew from CPL Fever. So my question is, I like that plus or minus thing, but my question is more related to Pacific and Edmonton. So how do you make sure that the team is really focused on, the game at hand and not kind of looking at the position of Pacific on the table, Pacific just having won against the Whitecaps and things like that, like as a coach?
I guess the way we've always been is to be the author of our own book. And what I mean by that is everything's in our hands. When we went away to Pacific, we knew that 3 points would have put us 1 point behind them and a game in hand, which would be at home against Edmonton. So we focused on what it would take to win there. Once that's done, we've been able to spend a full practice week of what it would take to beat Edmonton. And we just want to handle our own destiny. So we haven't looked too much about the league table because, like I said, I've said it in previous press conferences, we want to ride the peloton. We've led from the front for a long time, and it can be, tiresome when it gets to the back end of it because you've been the first, so you're expected to win. Right now, we're just in the pack. We're approaching the mid-level way of the season. And from here on out, that's when things get interesting. So we get to control our destiny. We get to play at home. We know that September is going to be a challenging month because we're on the road a lot. So we want to maximize our very good home record on Sunday, and then we'll reassess what the next game looks like after then.